So today, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about football cards, and particularly this year's rookie quarterback class, and how I am deciding how to approach this quarterback class from an investment standpoint, what the data is telling me, and some tips that I have that hopefully you will find helpful when figuring out what rookie quarterbacks to invest in. They put together a formula and then they adjusted it for competition these players faced in college and that type of thing to start to predict NFL success. The formula that they came up with is not perfect. It, for example, had Johnny Manziel rated as one of the absolute best college quarterbacks who they thought was going to translate into an NFL star.
So the data that you're using to project who to invest in said Johnny Manziel was a good investment.
It's a lot of nonsense.
A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men.
Obviously, that didn't happen for Johnny Manziel. Now, granted, he had a lot of issues off the field, and so it may not have, in his case, have been a talent issue.
You know who else had a lot of talent was Ryan Leaf.
Don't talk to me, all right? Knock it off!
Off-field demeanor is part of the equation, the human part of the equation, which, people that love analytics only, aren't big on the human element.
But they had some other quarterbacks on there as well who, like, they had Jameis Winston rated extremely well. And, he's obviously still an NFL quarterback, but hasn't hasn't lived up to that promise yet.
Blitz is coming. Winston avoids it one way, throws, and this is going to be intercepted.
So right from the jump, the analytic algorithm that they're using suggested Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston for investment purposes.
That's not a good start, but keep going.
So here's what I did. I took the ratings that came out of this study that 538 did, and I correlated them with card prices.
Again, this study that suggested Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston.
I took their card prices, and then I looked at the probability of them being successful.
Probability of being successful. What is that metric? Because as far as cards are concerned, it's MVPs and Super Bowl victories. That's it. Now, for a lot of people, success would just be making an NFL team or being a starter, maybe an all-pro. But success in cards, a high barrier to entry. MVP conversation, at least in the conversation, and Super Bowl victories. That's it.
I came up with a number based upon if I had $1,000 to invest in each one of these guys, and then I backed off that $1,000 by their risk factor of them not being successful, whatever the number was. So in Kyler Murray's case, 97% chance of success according to 538, 3% chance of not being successful. So I backed off that $1,000 in his case by 3%. How many of their cards could I buy for that amount of money, and what kind of value, would I therefore think I would get? So Kyler Murray's cards, for example.
So we're comparing quarterbacks to, bag of chips. I like bags of chips. If I could buy 10 bags of my favorite chips for $10, or those same chips for $30, well, I'd rather spend $10. But this is where analytics fall short, is that they don't know how to actually quantify value. If the quants actually played football, understood football a little more, then they could take the numbers and then try to maybe have it be a tiebreaker in an evaluation. Now, general managers are notoriously terrible at evaluating talent. A lot of people are. But to try to break it down to just strictly numbers, you're stripping the human element out, which in a team sport filled with gifted physical athletes, that mental part of the game, which is the hardest to quantify, leadership, which is really hard to quantify, I feel like people rest on analytics when they don't want to make a decision, right? Like, eventually, you got to be the man or be the woman and, like, make the decision. Take a chance. But I think we like to, like, well, it's not my fault. You know, the analytics told me I had to do this other thing. The value was there. Well, value is great, but 10 Will Greers or Ryan Finleys or Jameis Winston's or Johnny Manziel's, sure, they might have some value to Texas A&M or a Florida State fan, but they're not liquid at all because nobody cares about them outside of the niche college fan, right? And who knows, Florida State, they might not even want them anymore. This line of thinking where it's just analytics. There is a place for analytics alongside human evaluation. But I think we're going a little too far in the numbers, especially when the algorithm is spitting out Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston. Like, you got to get your quants to redevelop that algo.
Kyler Murray's cards, for example, are going for $170. $170.96 has been the average of his last few sales. Again, Contenders draft pick, college ticket. Whereas Will Grier, same card, same set for Will Grier is going for $41.20 right now. So Kyler Murray has a 97% chance of success, but Will Grier has a 90% chance of success. And when I run out those numbers, I think that Will Grier right now is about 4 times better of an investment than Kyler Murray. So right now I've got Kyler Murray rated a 5.67 in terms of.
And these numbers mean nothing. So we're starting with a 538 study whose statistical model or algorithm basically is flawed. It said Johnny Manziel was going to be a superstar, Jameis Winston, and people are wrong. I'm wrong. Like, everybody's wrong, right? From time to time.
I wouldn't know. I'm not familiar with the sensation.
But they're preaching this algorithm, this statistical model that is flawed, is their base. So any results are going to be skewed. Then Sports Card Investor used the 538 flawed model for his own rating system. So these numbers mean nothing, right? Like, sure, Will Grier's got a 90% chance to have NFL success. What is NFL success, right? Because, I mean, as a football player, just making the NFL, amazing. But for sports cards, if you're at the very least not a starter, but even a starter in the NFL doesn't matter. You need a Super Bowl. You need an MVP. And even sometimes, Joe Flacco has got a Super Bowl. I think he won MVP.
We're looking for Joe Flacco, the MVP of the Super Bowl. Joe.
Played amazing in that Super Bowl that season. But it still isn't enough to matter at all. So these numbers, I love analytics to work hand in hand with human evaluation, but I think we've reached this point where even when the numbers are flawed, we don't want to take responsibility for being right or wrong, and then we just blame the numbers. And I mean, it's crazy. We look, I mean, just look.
When you get down to the next two guys, Ryan Finley and Jordan Ta'amu, those numbers go crazy because their card prices are so stinking low. Ryan Finley's card right now, his Contenders Draft Picks College Ticket Auto card is only $7.77. Again, this is compared to $170 for a Kyler Murray card. His card's only $7. And so, from a value standpoint, he still has a 78% chance of NFL success, according to 538's data. I put him at a value rating of around 100, whereas I had Kyler Murray's a value rating of 5.67. And then Jordan Ta'amu, his cards are only $4. And he's got a 72% chance of NFL success. Now, this is, of course, assuming he, signs and sticks with a team.
If you have to use the qualifier, if he signs and sticks with a team as an investment for a trading card, that qualifier, just throw out the numbers.
His value rating up at 182 using this same formula. If you're going to believe 538's data, which I do.
You shouldn't, because it told you Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston were going to be stars.
And that doesn't mean that, obviously these guys will absolutely go on to be stars.
Or make an NFL team.
But I believe that they have some basis that they've uncovered here that gives us some indicator of success. If you believe their data will tell you buy Will Grier, because Will Grier has a high chance of NFL success, 90%, and his card prices are less than a quarter of Kyler Murray or Dwayne Haskins right now. So buy Will Grier, and that's what I'm doing. I'm buying a bunch of Will Grier rookies right now. And then also maybe take a flyer on Ryan Finley and Jordan Ta'amu. Their card prices are so low.
What people are trying to do, right? Trying to back up opinion with numbers. Sounds great. But when it comes to sports and sports cards, if you don't know sports, if you haven't played a sport, look, I played basketball, baseball, football, played baseball in college. I know those sports. I enjoy them. When I watch somebody that has a wow factor, I buy, right?
Never know with these guys. From the two, Mahomes escaping, on the move, Mahomes stops, spins, flips it forward for the touchdown to Edwards-Helaire.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game!
Now, I'm not saying you should always listen to me, but if you want to know about tech investments, maybe follow this advice.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies.
But when you're basing your decisions on an algorithm that is spitting out names like Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston, it's flawed from the beginning. So, look, I'm not saying listen to me, right?
Well, I have a microphone and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
I will say that I'm not trying to sell you anything, and I love sports. And if you check out the blog and my past videos, I've made suggestions on cards that have still retained value, right? And have gone up substantially. I don't sell any membership subscriptions or anything. I just do this for fun. But it irks me when there's people that are profiting. I would love to profit, but if people are profiting, hopefully they're giving you sound advice. So if it's not me, if you don't know sports, or if you don't know how to, and you're just getting into sports cards, right? Or you struggle with prospecting, find somebody that you can trust, right? If it's not me, look, everybody that I suggest, I buy. I'll show you the cards. I'll show you the wax that I have. I just, it's a fun hobby, and it's fun picking, right? It's fun gambling, betting. I think this person's going to be a star. I think that person's going to be a star, right? We're all biased with the decisions that we make, right? We all want to be right. Everybody wants to be right. When you can tell that somebody is making selections and they don't really know the sport, you could still be right or wrong. It's just, I think you should start from a more solid foundation. So when it comes to football, there's one guy I trust. Whenever he likes a player, a quarterback, especially a quarterback, for the PC, maybe occasionally a card here or there of a non-quarterback, but for investment purposes, it's an all-quarterback business. As you know, Louis Riddick, how this man doesn't run an NFL team right now, I do not know. If I was a billionaire, and I owned a team, Louis Riddick would be my GM, grand poobah of everything. The man is funny, he is sharp, and he's got an eye for talent. I still don't know how somebody hasn't scooped him up from ESPN. Here's a little clip from Louis that I think you'll enjoy.
Even before he took a snap. Why? Okay.
I'm listening.
I'd like to get out ahead of things.
Mm-hmm.
My boy, Brett Veach, the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, he's a great friend of mine. I've known him for a long time.
Okay.
Come up through the ranks. Now he's running the show.
Yeah.
From the get-go, he was like, Lou, this kid is ridiculous. What he's doing in practice. He's throwing stuff that we're sitting there going, I'm just telling you.
But you know what?
But you know what? You know greatness when you see it, right? You see like certain guys who you just go, I'm just telling you. He's gonna be. You don't have to sit there and go. He has to play 10 games, or in basketball, he don't have to play a whole season until you go. This guy is legit. He was telling me that from the get go. I looked at some of their practice tape. I'm going, Brett, my God, how's coach not playing him?
Okay,
how's he not even thinking about playing him? But Alex Smith's in a career year.
I need details, Louis Riddick. Are you talking this footwork? Are you talking him working towards progresses? Are you talking this arm trick? Are you talking his accuracy? What are we talking about here?
All of that.
All of it.
His work ethic, number one, attention to detail in the meeting room, learning from Alex Smith, transferring out onto the practice field, working from under center, something that he didn't do at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Footwork, 3, 5, 7-step drops, accuracy, range. There was no throw he couldn't make.
As always, I'm Freddie, and you're welcome.